my name is Karen. Welcome back to our channel called Our House, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you'd like to go from questions to confidence when it comes to the Robinson curriculum, I'm here to answer questions. And I'm going to answer the question today on how do I make a smooth transition over, especially if this is something that you're not used to, this homeschooling method, or you're new to homeschooling altogether. The self-taught model can seem a little intimidating, so we're going to jump into some tips that can help ease the transition. And make sure you stay until the end of this video to learn about some other coaching opportunities when it comes to RC. Tip number one is to have the student or students memorize their math facts. No matter the age, whether it's a 5-year-old just kind of starting out their academic journey, or a 12, a 13-year-old that you're switching over to this program, it is highly beneficial if you just take the time to let them memorize their math facts. A lot of times the frustration that comes with teaching yourself through Saxon math books is just simple arithmetic errors. So if you can eliminate that, that's really going to help them gain confidence that they need to be able to teach themselves harder concepts. There are lots of ways to go about this. You can do flashcards. RC has some great math flashcards that are nice and big, or you can use apps like Extra Math. Extra Math is really great. It does one operation at a time. So just whatever tool that is best for you and your family, really utilize it to have them memorize their math facts. Tip number two is to get really organized. I'm talking about setting up your school areas, figuring out where everybody needs to be, and also make sure they have the supplies, the RC weekly record form, for example, the vocabulary they need, the flashcards that they may need with vocabulary exercises, print off your Professor K, spelling, grammar, all of the things that you need. Make sure that you have them printed out. Everybody knows where they're at. Everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. And know yourself, when are you going to correct their essays? When are you going to work with the younger children? So getting all of that organized will really help for a smoother transition. Now, I recently did a live training video for my Patreon supporters where I went really specific with this. I talked about my schedule, where I am during the day, when I work with the younger children, when I work with the older children and helping them with their essays, kind of how to get started with this, planning around meal times, and it's really not that difficult or overwhelming. And even if you can't get a very specific schedule, it's okay, just figure out a routine. Really, that's what I go by more, especially when you have a lot of young children. It's a routine, it's a day of, it's the order of the day. And so something like this could just be beneficial for everybody to see, kind of where they're supposed to be at, what they're supposed to be doing. It does not mean that everything gets done on the schedule, but you have a goal, you have a game plan, and that alone will help you to feel more confident, the children to be a little bit more independent and see what they're supposed to be doing, and just helps you make that transition a lot smoother. Tip number three is to have some sort of a parent, teacher, student meeting where you explain to them what you're doing, why you're switching over to this method. Tell them why a self-teaching model is so important and the pros of it, the benefits of it, and what their responsibilities are going to be, what goals they might have, what goals you might have, but also just really explain how the curriculum works, everything. I think what can happen sometimes is a parent will just give the math book to their child and be like, okay, this is your textbook, you're on your own, don't ask me for any help, I'm not going to help you. Read it, figure it out, correct yourself, and don't move on until you get 90-95% on the first try. But really, I think with some children especially, you really need to help them, break it down for them. For example, tell them that they really need to pay attention reading the lesson. They need to make note of all the words that are in bold. Those things are going to be important. That when they read a problem, they should write down the numbers that they see in word problems and then look for those key words, less, more, to figure it out. Also drawing, if they have a hard time understanding something, ask them to draw it out. Tell them that's a tool that they can use. I've heard this saying and it's so true, if you can't draw it, you can't understand it. So explain to them these things that they can do, like drawing the problem, and also how some of the math books have little parentheses that tell you where that concept was first taught, and teach them to go back and to search for that lesson, and explain to them that they need to take their time and not rush, because the more errors they get, the more they're going to have to redo that lesson. So you want to pass it on your first try. It's not fun to keep redoing the same lesson over and over. That can be frustrating. So explain to them that there is no rush. In fact, the schedule allocates for 2 hours for math a day. So really there is no rush. If it's too hard for them, they can just do half a lesson a day. They don't have to do the whole lesson. They can do half the problems, but it's better that they just understand it, take their time, and get fewer errors. So even if they do half a lesson for one day, but with maybe just 1 or 2 errors, that's better than doing an entire lesson a day, but having 7 wrong, and then they're going to have to redo it the next day, and it's just frustrating and stressful that way. So take your time, cut the lesson in half if it is too difficult. And also encourage them to maybe check their work before they grade. So if there's a problem where they're solving for n, explain to them to put that answer back into n and see if it's right before they check with the answer key. These are things that I think maybe are not said in the book because they're relying on a teacher maybe to say it or do it in the class. But remember, they just have the books. They're just teaching themselves. So things that we as parents might think are a no-brainer, you have to explain to some children. So that's another tip. That's my tip number 3 for a smoother transition. All right, so question of the day. Comment below, what was your biggest challenge when you transitioned over to the Robinson curriculum? I'd love to hear it. That'd be some great video ideas for the future for anybody else that's struggling with the same issues. Maybe they can read your answers. So comment below. What was your biggest struggle switching over? Now, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I want to talk to you about some other coaching and training options. If you feel like you need a little bit more, there's actually 4 ways that you can get more help tailored more to your specific needs. Number 1, when you purchase the Robinson Curriculum Lifetime Bundle, that's the package that not just has the curriculum, but it also has the printer and bookbinding supplies and all the flashcards, everything, all the Saxon math books, all of it for one price. When you purchase that bundle, you also get included an hour coaching session with me. So you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but you have that option. So once you sign up for it, I will send you an email, and then from there we can get started. Number 2, if you already have the Robinson curriculum or thinking about purchasing it, but you don't want to purchase the lifetime bundle, maybe you're just going to purchase the curriculum, or you already have it or you're considering it, you can also do just personal coaching with me through me. And I will leave a link in the description below. It's called homeschoolcoachingwithkaren.com, and you can check it out there. And again, if you sign up in that email list, I will send you an email, and from there we can get started if you'd like. And a couple of other ways that you can get additional help and support is, like I mentioned, my Patreon group, where I do a once a month live training session on different topics. So you can have access to that for just $5 a month. And I also do early releases to my video, giveaways, other things like that. But you can also ask questions in that Patreon group. And I'm always going to give priority to the questions asked in that group, because obviously they are the ones that are supporting me, helping me to keep this channel going. So no matter how busy a day is, if I can only answer questions in one place, it's going to be first on Patreon. So that's another option. And last but not least, you have the mentorship program with the Robinson curriculum in their Facebook group. If you go on their official Facebook group, there's a place where you can click on either being a mentor or receiving a mentor, and that person can help you out as well. They have some great mentors in that group, and that's something that is free to you to use. And actually, there's one more. You can just call the Robinson Curriculum phone number. They have a 60-second zero frustration policy. That means if at any time you are frustrated for longer than 60 seconds, you can pick up that phone and talk to a real life person. This is one of those great things about the Robinson Curriculum that makes it so unique, is you call them and you get a real life person answering the phone, and they really do care and they do really want to help you. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to notification bell, and I will see you in another video. Bye.